Your cockatoo has been evaluating you since the first morning you walked into the room. Not casually, not passively, deliberately, continuously, with a cognitive precision built across 30 million years of flock survival that does not pause, does not forget, and does not forgive inconsistency. And the most unsettling part is not that this evaluation is happening, it's that your cockatoo reached a verdict about you a long time ago, and you were never told the result. This video is the result. Subscribe if you want to know your score. It begins with the most deceptively simple test your cockatoo will ever administer, and it starts the moment your feet hit the floor each morning. Your cockatoo is not watching to see whether you feed them. They are not checking whether you clean the cage or refill the water. Those things matter, but they are not what's being measured. What your cockatoo is evaluating, with a level of neurological attention you cannot see and they will never announce, is whether you do those things in the same order, at the same energy, at roughly the same time, the same way you did them yesterday, and the day before that, and every day before that, in wild cockatoo flocks, enormous, noisy, constantly mobile groups moving across hundreds of square kilometers of Australian canopy. The individuals who rise to positions of social trust are not the strongest or the loudest. They are the most predictable. A flock member whose behavior can be anticipated is a flock member who does not need to be monitored. And a flock member who does not need to be monitored frees up cognitive bandwidth that the observing bird can redirect toward relaxation, foraging, play, and bonding. Your cockatoo's brain is building a predictive model of you. Every single day it is logging what you do, when you do it, in what sequence, with what vocal tone, and comparing that log against every previous morning it has stored. Every time the pattern matches, a small neurological reward fires. Trust increases by a fraction. The bird exhales a little deeper, settles a little faster, relaxes into the knowledge that the world is unfolding exactly as expected. And every time you deviate, you skip the greeting, you were on the phone when you usually talk to them, you were rushed when you are normally slow, you were loud on a morning that should have been quiet, the model breaks. Not dramatically, not in a way you would notice, but inside that skull, the prediction error triggers a recalculation. Resources shift from relaxation back to surveillance. The bird doesn't panic. It simply begins watching you more carefully. Because an unpredictable flock member is a flock member who must be monitored, and a cockatoo who is monitoring you is a cockatoo who is not trusting you. The single most powerful thing you can do to pass this first test is to be boring, predictable, unremarkable. The same quiet greeting, the same routine, the same rhythm, which is precisely the opposite of what enthusiastic new owners do. They vary their approach, try new things, surprise the bird with treats and changes, believing novelty equals enrichment. To the bird's evaluation system, novelty equals instability, and instability drops the score. But predictability only tests the calm days. Your cockatoo has a second evaluation that waits in the background for months and then deploys in a single instant without warning. Something crashes in the kitchen, a stranger knocks on the door, a car backfires outside. The cockatoo startles on its perch, and in that exact fragment of time, not minutes, not even a full minute, but the first 5 to 10 seconds after chaos enters the room, your cockatoo is not looking at the source of the threat. It is looking at you, with a precision that would unsettle you if you understood what was being calculated. Because in a wild flock, the quality of a leader is not revealed during calm. It is revealed exclusively during crisis. A flock leader who startles, vocalizes an alarm, and displays erratic movement under threat is a leader whose nervous system cannot regulate under pressure. And a leader who cannot regulate under pressure is a leader who will get the flock killed. Your cockatoo's brain processes your crisis response at a speed and depth that no amount of calm day bonding can replicate. If you jump, yell, rush toward the sound, or display visible panic, the evaluation is instant and severe. Not anger, not disappointment, something colder. Reclassification. This individual cannot protect me because this individual cannot even protect themselves. And your trust score drops more in those 30 seconds than it accumulated over the previous month of gentle mornings. But if you respond to the same crash with a still body, a slow turn, a calm voice, an unchanged breathing pattern, your cockatoo witnesses something its brain is specifically evolved to identify, a flock leader whose internal state does not destabilize when the external world does. And the score jumps. Not incrementally, dramatically. Because a single moment of proven composure under pressure is worth more in the cockatoo's evaluation than 100 unremarkable days. And then the third test, which is quieter than the others but runs every single time you leave the house. Your cockatoo is not just feeling sad when you walk out the door, it is running a pattern analysis. It is tracking when you leave, how long you are gone, and whether you return within the predicted window. Cockatoos are extraordinary temporal processors. A bird whose owner leaves at the same time each weekday and returns 8 hours later has built a neurological countdown clock, not conscious, not mathematical, but deeply physiological, that allows the bird to manage its separation chemistry through predictive certainty. The cortisol rises when you leave, but if the bird's model predicts your return, the rise is contained, managed, survivable. Now consider the cockatoo whose owner has erratic absence patterns. Gone 2 hours on Monday, 12 hours on Wednesday, back at noon on Friday, gone overnight on Saturday with no precedent. That bird cannot build a prediction model, and a cockatoo who cannot predict when their person will return does not experience each departure as a temporary separation. It experiences every single departure as potentially permanent, not because it loves you more than the cockatoo with the predictable owner, because its brain cannot generate the neurological certainty that you are coming back. Every goodbye becomes an open question the bird cannot answer, and it will scream, not from boredom, from the mathematical impossibility of knowing whether this goodbye is the last one. The fourth test is the one that breaks most owners, and it is the one that carries more weight in a cockatoo's evaluation than feeding, cleaning, playing, and affection combined. Your cockatoo signals that it does not want to be touched right now. The body leans away, the feathers compress, the beak opens slightly, the eyes pin, or it simply turns its back to you. These are not subtle cues. They are a complete, unambiguous sentence, "Not now." And your cockatoo, in that moment, redirects every available cognitive resource toward a single question. Will this individual honor what I just said? If you pull your hand back, lower your energy, and give the bird space, something fundamental encodes. This person recognizes that I am an autonomous being whose preferences have weight. My no changes their behavior. I have agency in this relationship. If you override it, "Oh, come on, step up. Don't be silly. Let me just scratch you." Something equally fundamental encodes. My signals do not change this person's behavior. My preferences are irrelevant to their decisions. I am an object whose compliance is expected regardless of what I communicate. And that single distinction reshapes the entire architecture of the bond. A cockatoo who knows its boundaries are honored begins to volunteer. It approaches. It steps up without being asked. It offers its head. Because offering is safe when refusal is also safe. A cockatoo who knows its boundaries are overridden begins to withdraw. It bites preemptively. It refuses before being asked. It withholds affection, not out of spite, but because withholding is the only form of control it has left in a relationship where its communication is ignored. Most owners who describe their cockatoo as moody or unpredictable are living with a bird who failed them on this test years ago and has been managing around an unreliable authority ever since. The fifth test does not happen in a moment. It happens across months, quietly, in the background, with no visible trigger and no obvious measurement. Your cockatoo is tracking your emotional baseline over time. Not your best days, not your worst days, the average, the shape of the curve, whether your warmth is a constant frequency or a wave that peaks and crashes. Because cockatoos, especially those who have lived with more than one owner, and the average cockatoo is rehomed 5 to 7 times in its 50 to 70-year life, have learned something about human love that most humans never articulate. It is episodic, intense for a while, then gone, then back, then gone longer. A cockatoo who has survived that cycle does not respond to intensity. Intensity is the beginning of the wave, and the wave always crashes. What earns the deep bond, the unshakable, decades-long "I will die on your shoulder" devotion, is not the owner who loved them the most on any given day. It is the owner who loved them the same amount on every given day. The same voice, the same patience, the same warmth. Tuesday after Tuesday after Tuesday for years. Not exciting, not dramatic, relentlessly, almost boringly steady. That is what a cockatoo's long-term audit is searching for. Not the peak of the wave, the flat line that never drops. And then the final test, the one your cockatoo administers only rarely and hopes it never has to. Your bird is sick, quiet, fluffed on a low perch or the cage floor, eyes half closed, energy gone, And in that moment, it is more cognitively alert to your behavior than it has ever been during any healthy interaction. Because in a wild flock, a sick bird is a liability. It slows movement. It attracts predators. The flock's response to that vulnerability, whether it closes ranks and protects or distances itself and moves on, determines whether the sick bird survives. Your cockatoo, sitting at the bottom of its cage feeling worse than it can tell you, is running one final evaluation. Does this person approach softly? Does the voice go gentle? Do the hands slow down? Does the environment change? Warmer, quieter, closer? Or does this person panic, overhandle, flood with noise, or worse, not notice at all? Your response in those first minutes encodes permanently, not as a data point, as a verdict. This is a person who protects me when I am weakest, or this is a person who cannot be relied upon when it matters most. Here's what ties every test together and what most owners never realize. Your cockatoo completed its initial evaluation of you within approximately 72 hours of entering your life. 3 days. That was the first draft of the verdict. Every day since has been a continuous revision, thousands of small, unremarkable moments that either confirm the original assessment or slowly, quietly, irreversibly change it. And the owners who pass are never the ones who tried the hardest, bought the most expensive setup, or studied the most training material. They are the ones who showed up the same way every single day, honored every boundary, stayed still in every crisis, returned when expected, loved at the same volume in January as they did in July, and proved through years of unremarkable consistency that they could be trusted, not because they were perfect, but because they were predictable. Your cockatoo already knows exactly what kind of owner you are. It decided a long time ago. Now you know the test. Like this if you're going to pass it tomorrow morning. And subscribe. Your cockatoo is already watching.